Hi crafters, this is Crafty Sabby and I'm back today to share a little project and tutorial with you. So I was, going through my stash of things and I came across some old ephemera that a co-worker, we don't work together anymore, but gave me when his mom passed away. And so I was just going through some things and trying to get some ideas, and I came across something. So I'm not too worried about showing you the dress because this particular piece of ephemera is from 1950. And so I wanted to show you this before I show you what I made. So this is an envelope almost. So you put the address to who you were going to obviously send it to on the front here, and you can mail it. However, it's open. It's not a closed envelope, as you can see. And it has a flap that gets tucked into a very basic, simple slit in the envelope here. It's a little worse for wear, so I'm going to try to be careful with it. And then it opens up once, so there are actually like 3 panels to it. So the flap and these 2 panels. And then on the inside are a series of pictures that just kind of fold out, which I thought was interesting in itself. But what was really special about this particular letter was the fact that I have a letter, a handwritten, beautiful letter that was written on June 19th, 1950. And it's quite lengthy. It goes the whole way down through these pictures. So I loved that idea. I did read it. We don't have time to go through it all now. I just know that from the time the person wrote the letter to the time the next person got it was about 10 days. So super snail mail, but still not bad, I guess, for the times. So my mind got going and I wanted to recreate something like this for my journals. I'm going to show you what I ended up coming up with. So I followed the basic layout of this letter almost to a fault, except for I came up with many different sizes. I stopped measuring. I measured the first one that I created, which is, I'll show it to you here, or I'm not sure if it's this one or this one, but and then I said, heck with that. I just kind of got pieces of paper at any size and just different things, and I'll show you what I used, and just kind of folded them, and whatever size it came out, I was happy with. So let's start here. I just I bundled them up. They're so cute. I used many different things. I didn't just use one type of paper. Oh my gosh, you guys. My manicure, my nails, everything done. Like I'm a mess. My hands are dirty. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm crafting, so. So the paper on this is not very thick. Maybe you can judge by the sound. Not too thin either, so I guess it had to withstand a little bit of bulk. So I used a bunch of different things. I tried a whole bunch of ideas when I made mine. So I'll show you some of the things that I used anyways. I used this thicker paper, which this is the one I'm going to show you the tutorial with, but you can hear that. I coffee stained it also, so it's a little bit more stable, but I would say it's probably like a couple of sheets of copy paper, maybe 2 or 3 thick. So like if you glue them together, so maybe that's the consistency, but I used that. I also did try to use a couple of sheets of coffee stained paper glued together, and I have those as well, and it worked just fine because it's not like we're really mailing these, so it's, And I have some old school paper, paper that I kind of used in school. This kind of brown generic paper. It's not exactly construction paper, but so I glued a couple of those sheets together, and that made for a really good envelope. Also, I don't think I made one out of this paper bag, but this one here that I'm going to show you, and maybe another one, is actually made from a regular paper bag. I opened it up, I kind of glued it together to make it a little thicker, coffee stained it, distressed it, and I used that. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is you can pretty much use anything you have in your stash at home. Anything will work as long as it's a little bit thicker. So we'll start here. This one is, like I said, made out of a regular sandwich bag. And so the front, and okay, oh, here's another thing I want to tell you before we move on that. I'm just like jumping everywhere. I know, okay, so when I originally started, I thought, oh, maybe I can find a little to and from stamp just like that, right? And I looked through my stash, and I did. I found a from and a to here. This is, and I know I'm going to get asked because I always get asked about my stamps, but this is, I'm sorry about the glare, Forever in Time. I believe these come from, I got mine at a place called Your Dollar Store with More. But I think these are from Dollar Tree, if I'm not mistaken. And this particular one is called Calendar, if you're looking for a to and a from. But I'll tell you, I didn't use it because I found it was just a little too modern for what I was looking for. And, okay, and the stamp that's here, that one happens to be a little package that I got from AliExpress. I don't know who from or what, but you can find these all over. Sticky backed. It says Little Forest Post Office, but I used some of those. I used some real stamps in some cases that I had. And then the stamp mark that they put on it at the post office, that came from this, and I get asked about this collection so much, but I'm going to show you. I've had this for probably more than 5 years, so I'm telling you right now, it's super old, so I don't know if you'll be able to find it, but it was from Recollections, and it has very beautiful stamps inside there, and it has this one, and that's the one I used. So in some places I blocked off this part and just used that part and that you see here. This stamp set is called Vintage Ads. Right there. And I got it at Michael's. But it is super, super nice. And after this project, I'm going to be doing a couple other videos on some other things and tutorials that I've been working on using these particular stamps. But if you have anything that's vintage, like you could use that. I'm almost guessing that is not even really too difficult to create something like this. I don't know what with, but I don't know if you guys have any ideas, maybe let me know. But I was fortunate enough to have that, and you don't need to put the lines on there either. So I decided, again with the to and the from, not even to bother. I use my own handwriting. This is my own handwriting. This is not my address, so don't everybody worry. Fake names, that is my name, but that's not my address. So I just made things up and just used my own handwriting, and I was perfectly happy with that. I drew my own lines on there. I thought it just added a little bit more of a personal touch anyway. So, okay, enough gabbing. So you open it up, and inside of these I've done different things. Okay, oh, this was the one I wanted to redo, but this has just a few pictures inside that didn't turn out very well. But that was the kind of the idea. I was just more fascinated with this, the way this this one came out. I liked using the sandwich bag for that. It's just sort of old and worldly. I don't know. So that's that one. And then there's this one here, again with my own handwriting. I used that stamp. I used a real stamp here, and then I stamped on top of it. This is Mod Podge with some gloss finish. And you open this one up, and I attached an old letter on some parchment paper. I just copied the letter onto the parchment paper. And then back here is just an extra sheet of writing. I was just thinking ahead for when I put them in my journals. So I don't know if I forgot to glue that down or not. Anyway, I'll do it later. So that just closes up like that. It tucks into there. This could be the first one I made. This is my original, from the original size. Yeah. So again, I drew some lines on this one this time. My handwriting, that's just another stamp from AliExpress. I smudged those lines on there, but it's okay. I like the way that looked. And this one is made from, I think, could just be 2 or 3 sheets of paper. Yeah, it's a few sheets of paper. This could be a sandwich bag too, I'm not sure. But anyway, I forget now. I distressed all the edges, so I just used my distress ink. And then here's another copy of that letter. This time I put the whole of the letter in there. And I love that. I love the way it all folds up into accordion and just tucks away into here so nicely. And it all folds up like that. And then real quick, this is another sandwich bag. And a different size, so this is a little bit longer this time. My writing, there's a real stamp on there. And then inside of this one, I just put some, I didn't actually attach a letter to it. And I've been gluing sort of the letter or whatever it is to this section here so that it doesn't fall out. In here is just some old writing paper. Just some, and then I believe these are from Artie Mae's, some free printables, but I just backed them on some paper, some postcards, and put them in there. So that's those. And in this, these are all the same. And then I wanted to do one that was a little bit smaller, so this is just a teeny one. I used my carte postal stamp on the front, just for something different. Where's my stamp? Here. There's some numbers for you. This one is also from Michael's. It's from Stampendous. Okay, so really, really beautiful stamp. I love it. Even happier because I got it on sale. And so that one opens up. And I just attached a little booklet of writing paper. So I switched them up a little just to kind of suit my needs for journals. So that's what I liked about this project. Okay, this envelope is made out of this kind of sort of construction, old construction paper, I'd like to say. Okay, and this one here, I actually did some sewing around. I wanted to see what it would look like with some stitching, and it looks cute. A little bit time consuming because I went around the whole thing. A little awkward. This one, I made a mistake. Well, not really a mistake. I mean, it was like a happy accident, but I actually did more than 3 panels. So the flap, and then there's supposed to be 2 panels, and then I ended up with a 3rd one. So then I had to kind of figure out how I had to be careful because of this, that I didn't glue anything down, which it almost happened. But anyway, it happened, and happy accident. And so here's a part of the letter that I attached in here. And then when you flip this up, I just attached a bit of a postcard on that flap. And then when you fold it up, there's the slip, and you can just slip that right inside. So, and then the last one, there's just a real stamp on there. My writing again. Very glossy matte finish on that Mod Podge. And then when you open up this one is just another copy of that letter. You can hardly see it. Yeah, it is printed on there, but like, and then just some old writing paper there and there. And that just folds up and tucks away into there. Okay, so I loved this project. I made a lot of them. I'm going to make more of them. It was fun. It was pretty quick, and you can embellish till your heart's content, and they're going to look super cute as a little gift to give away, or you know, in tucks in your journals. I can't wait to put some of these in my journal. So let's just quickly get on here with a little bit of a tutorial. Okay, so I had written down like official measurements of like the original, but you know what? I'm not going to do that because I'll give you some just to kind of get you started. But for the most part, you could grab a piece of paper literally and fold it in 3, and you're going to end up with a beautiful envelope. I'll just show you the process and how you do it. So I would get a sheet at least as wide, well, you can make it as wide as you want. This particular one is, I believe, 6, and the length is 11. You need a little bit of length because you got to fold it like twice and then have a flap, right? So this one is 6 by 11, and then you're going to want to take the bottom, from the bottom, and fold up. So what you're trying to achieve here is to make one fold, and then whatever's going to be the flap, when I say flap, I mean this triangular portion, you want it to be shorter. So say you fold this one, right? You want the flap to be shorter, about, I'm going to guess, probably about 1 inch, or just maybe even, let's see, let's measure. Yeah, about 3/4 from that edge, shorter, so that we can make this slit in here and have this slide in nicely. And I'll show you what I mean now, okay? So you could take this and easily eyeball it. And you can fold it. You can see what I'm doing here. Kind of making sure that, you know, your flap is going to be shorter, about 3/4 of an inch shorter. And you could just take it in your hand like that and fold it up. But I can give you a quick measurement. This happens to be 3 3/4 from the bottom up, and you could fold it if you're going to make a 6 by 11, okay? 3 3/4, and then you can fold it, crease it, and then you don't even need to measure anymore. You only basically need that one. So 6 by 11, and then fold it up 3 3/4, and then this flap, you just need to fold it on that line, you know, meeting up with this edge here. Just like that. And that should work out perfectly fine. So we have this. We measured up 3 3/4 up to here, and then we just folded our flap down. Now, in order to achieve this triangular and sort of flat edge here, this is what I did. I spent time for the first few measuring and fiddling it all out and whatever. So this is your flap, right? We want it to be triangular here. So all I did was opened it up like this, and I folded it. Well, I don't crease anything, but just match up your creases here. Just making sure that everything is kind of straight. Then I literally took, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make this line a little darker so that you can see where what I'm doing here. Just this is the only reason I'm doing this is so that you can see on the camera. You don't have to do that part, okay? So you take it and you fold it, right? So that your crease lines meet up. Just make sure that your corner's straight. And then I literally took my scissors and cut it where I wanted to. So depending on how wide of a flat edge you want is where you're going to angle your scissors. So or you can measure it. It's totally up to you. So let's just say I'm going to measure it. I'm going to say probably about 1.5 inches. You could go from your fold here in 1.5 inches and make a little tick mark if you want. Otherwise you could just eyeball this, and that's what I ended up doing. Take your scissors, start from the folded line here and meet up with your tick mark. If you don't feel comfortable just going ahead and cutting that using your eyeballs, you're more than welcome to take your pencil and ruler, make a mark. Not as dark as I did probably, but just make sure everything is lined up again. Take your scissors and chop away that bit there. Okay, so when you open it up, you're left with that. And if that's not enough for you, like that to me is probably a little bit wide, I would just go back, fold it again. So 1.5 inches is probably too much for my taste, but you could go back and just cut a little more. It just all depends on what you like to see. So there, I'm a little happier with that. So now we want to make that little slit mark. So now you have your flap. This is the part that folds in and this folds down. So we want to make a cut through here. So this is what all I did for this. Again, no measuring. I hate to measure, guys, you know. So if I was forced to measure this and not use up my eye, I would probably go from the edge of the flap here and measure up about, I'm gonna say 3/4. 1, 2, 3. So with the edge of there, I would go up 3/4. Make a little mark on the outside of the flap here, because we want, when we cut it, we have to go a little bit beyond the edge of the flap. So this is what I mean. You just have to make it a little larger right here. So a little bit past the actual edge of the flap, if that makes any sense at all. I don't even know if I'm making sense. It's late. So again, just on the other side, you make another tick mark. Here, I'm just gonna go up 1, 2, 3/4 of an inch and make another mark on this side. So just lift up your flap now. I would probably open up the whole thing here. Okay, find your 2 lines that you made. And you can either just draw a line using your 2 points that you made for yourself. Okay, it's going a little bit past the edge there, like I said. Just do this one a little bit more. Okay, just eyeball it. Take your X-Acto blade or whatever it is that you have. Use your ruler here and just cut along that line. So now we have that. And you should be able to easily slip that into there. Just like that. Okay, oh, I hope that was okay. Then you could proceed with decorating it. Like I said, you can coffee stain it or use coffee stain paper already. I use some distress ink with my... That one looks horrible. This is a vintage photo, but use your distress ink, any color that you like. Go around the edges. Draw yourself some lines. I got 5 here, so 4 for some sort of an address and then 1 for the from. I got 2 and from there. And then if you want to, you can put a stamp, a real stamp, a fake stamp, whatever you have. Any sort of stamp. You could use anything. I mean, this one has that carte postale stamp on it too, and I really love that. So you could put anything on there, but to make it look sort of like an authentic letter. And then inside, you could do whatever you want. If you have a letter or something vintage like that that you want to use inside, you just attach it. So it doesn't matter how long it is because it'll just fold up inside of there. And then you just attach it here. Let's just get this one down while I'm here. You can use any glue you want. It doesn't have to be anything special. I get asked a lot what kind of glue I use, and this bottle's old, but it's Aleene's tacky glue. And I can get this at Walmart, and when I find it, I always get it because I like it. Yeah, and like I said, just however long the pages are, you fold it, make the folds so that everything tucks away nicely within your envelope. So, I hope that was okay. If it wasn't, and you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to send me a message, and I will go through it again or, clear things up. But super fun to make, easy, and I think they're going to look really, really nice in any journal. So let me know what your thoughts are. Also, I don't know if it matters to you one way or the other, but I rounded these off just like that. And also these, these are a little bit too sharp for me. So if you want, you can always go and round those off a little bit. It just looks a little nicer. I hope you guys are all staying well and safe. And I will be back shortly with another project idea and tutorial. And we'll talk to you guys all real soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.